Hello everyone, welcome back to Fanblade. Roadtrip! So every now and then it is lovely to just get out and see this beautiful country that I live in, go drive around it for a bit, have a look at some new things. There is a particular type of base that I've been on the lookout for nearly 25 years actually. It is, in fact, my very first base, which was a Samick artist series with a particular type of finish on it. It's called a granite gold finish, and I have never seen another one since I sanded it off my original base back in 1997. Yep, my first base suffered from amateur mod syndrome. I ruined it. Absolutely destroyed the thing. I do still have its body though, it's not in any sort of playable condition. But what's really interesting about it is that it's got routing for 2 jazz pickups. I have never seen another Samick Artist Series base with the granite gold finish and 2 jazz pickups. I have seen other Samick Artist Series bases with the 2 jazz bass configuration, but none with the granite gold finish and none for sale in New Zealand. There's a blue one that I found, got sold a couple of years ago on Reverb. Like, that's pretty much it. I think Anderton's in the UK had another one a wee while ago, but that's long gone. The closest I've ever seen in New Zealand was this oddity, which seems to be from a few years before the Artist Series was really a thing. So different headstock, no burst airbrushed onto it. It's a genuine oddity. This base was sold in New Zealand about 2 years ago, and I missed out on it. I fought hard to get that one, but I missed out on it. Someone in this country knows where that base is. And if you're seeing this, then please get in touch. Please? So today's base is special. It is an artist series. It is granite gold. It is a 5-string, and it is cheap. This thing's only costing me $42 New Zealand. Yep. That's how I can justify the price of petrol for driving 4.5 hours each way to go and buy it. Yeah. Yes. The reason why it's cheap is because it's got a broken neck. Remember what I was saying about this being completely insane? Now, I can fix the neck. That's not a problem. I know how to do that. I mean, even if I manage to botch that up, then I can just make a whole new one from scratch. That's fine. Really, what this is about is taking a base with a fairly rare finish, and instead of destroying it like I did my first one, I'm going to fix it, and that's going to be my last one. About 4 years ago, when I found myself with the space and just enough spare income to start, really collecting bases, I made a list of all the ones that I wanted, and there's only 2 left on it. One that I'm picking up today, and one which I sort of don't even really want since I wrote the list. Ibanez SR505. Great bases. They're fantastic. I had an SR506. I didn't get on with the 6-string thing, but I really wanted the 5-string. That's why I made the list. But I don't have anything to learn from that bass. And they're pretty expensive, and I certainly don't need another 5-string. So really what's happening here is that I am buying my first bass last, and instead of destroying it like I did with the first one, I'm going to be restoring it, and that'll wrap the whole collection up in a nice little package which I can just sort of feel like that's a completed project. I can finally stop buying bases. Sometimes you just want to go stand on a beach and then pick up a bit of driftwood, take it home and glue googly eyes on it. passing through the town of Oamaru right now. The New Zealand Post warehouse is right there. And you may be asking, why didn't you just get this base couriered to you? Well, the seller didn't want to, essentially. He said, buyer must pick up. That's fine, I'm doing that. I don't mind at all. Shipping a base is scary if you've never done it before, if you're not too sure how to pack it properly. He just didn't want to take that risk, even though the neck's already broken. Like, I get it, I totally understand, and I knew that going in, so yeah, here I am. Alright, I have finally arrived. Dunedin's cool, man. It's just hills going every which way. You saw the road I had to come up to get here. I don't know which house is the one I'm going to, but I'm going to take some money and go and buy a base. I'll be right back. Yes! Got one! Alright. Just fueled up, that came to $54, which means that the total price of the trip will be $108 plus the base. 42 makes a nice round $150, and that's New Zealand dollars as well, so that's what's that? It's about $80 American. Right, homeward bound. Here we go. Alright, let's take a look at what it is that I've actually got here. We've got some awful old strings, I'll get rid of those in a second, but granite gold finish. Check that out. That is a very rare finish, but I should say not rare and collectible. It's rare because they didn't make many of them because nobody wanted them. Makes it hard to find when you do want one, but yes, I got one. Very happy. The pickups are an unknown quantity. There is an active preamp in this one which my original base did not have. But, we'll see if there's any life in it. Check out the bridge. What a monstrously over-engineered chunk of hardware this thing is. It's designed quite oddly because the strings go through the centre of the saddle, and of course they seat against the back plate, but the adjustment screws are perfectly in line with the path of the string. Don't get me wrong, I love that they've lined everything up nicely. I think it's a very clean design, I think it's a very interesting design. It's totally over-engineered and unnecessary, but I love it anyway. But we are a long, long way from getting to see what this base can do and whether or not that makes any difference at all, because we've got a major issue with the neck. The good news is, it's a nice clean break. It should make for a nice clean repair. The bad news is, that's a scarf join break, and that means that there's glue inside there, which means that I can't simply squirt some glue in there and then clamp it closed. I'm going to have to take off, either just remove this section of the neck, then clean all the surfaces. If I can't quite get in there, or if it's not going to work properly for whatever reason, then I may have to take the entire fingerboard off. Then I can re-glue that, and then I can glue the fingerboard back on. Or, failing all of that, I can just make a whole new neck. The first step, I think, is going to be to try and fiddle with the truss rod, just to see if I can get that to actually pull in line and close by itself. So, yeah, I'll have a play with the truss rod. I should probably pop the nut off first, actually. That's a relatively easy task. There we go. Right. It would appear that the truss rod is already straight. I'm just wondering why that's not pulling immediately flat. I'm wondering if there might be a problem with the truss rod. I'm going to get the heat gun out, and I'm very carefully going to remove this section of the neck. So, we have a decapitated base. That's not something you should ever really see. I was also able to slide the truss rod out, and I was absolutely right. Can you spot a problem with that? Yeah, there's a great big bend in it right about there. I will have to see if I can straighten that out. These little, looks like bits of masking tape. 30-year-old masking tape. Okay, I can replace that. That's a steel. It's a steel bar in an aluminium chassis. Hopefully, it's just the aluminium that's bent, and I should be able to hammer that back flat relatively easily. There's a couple of little cracks. I need to fill those with glue because I can see them having truss rod pressure pressed against them and failing. I don't know about the one in the centre. I would think that might just be cosmetic because I can't see the crack going anywhere into the wood. And if I flex it, I can just see this one on the side here opening up, so I suspect that's where the majority of the damage has happened. Although there may be cracking going through, and that's what's caused that. But that one's not opening up when I flex it, so yeah, if it doesn't open up, I can't really fill it. But I can definitely get some glue in there, and I think it would be very wise to do so. Spread a little bit of glue on there. Yeah, give it a flex. Hopefully we'll get as much glue as we can in there, then I'll wipe off all of this. Alright, looks like we've got a little bit of glue coming through the inside there. That's good to see. Now then, with all of that glue removed and the truss rods straightened out, we can do a dry fit, and it looks like everything's going to close up and come out relatively clean, I would hope. There's still a couple of things I've got to do before I can glue it all back together though. First off, I'm going to remove the neck so that while all of this is drying we can take a look at what's going on with the body. Before I can do that, of course, I need to put some masking tape back on that side of the truss rod, but also there's a slight issue with these surfaces. I have taken all of the glue off that surface, and that surface, also the underside of the fingerboard, but I don't know about the inside of the scarf join down in here, simply because I can't really see what I'm doing and it's difficult to get in there. So what I'm going to do is get some 40 grit sandpaper and just very carefully get it as far up in there as possible and just scuff that surface up. If there is any remaining glue, then the 40 grit roughness will give the glue, the fresh glue, something to grab hold of. Okay, that's looking pretty good. It sort of started to want to slide a little bit sideways, but if you know that's going to happen and you look out for it, then you can just relax the clamps off, reset it, and then reset it properly. That's looking good to me now. I'm going to set this neck aside, and then we'll look at the body. So here is the body in all of its dusty, fingerprinty glory. We'll give it a good clean. My original one of these was made of older. This one looks definitely like it's made of the same stuff. I'm gonna guess that it's like a 4 or possibly even a 5-piece body, just because I can faintly see some lines where the wood may have shrunk a little bit. You can just see where they've put some glue joins inside it. Yeah, it's like a 4 or a 5. I don't really care. It's one piece at the moment. That's the way it's going to stay as far as I'm concerned. Check out the contouring on the top and the back as well. This edge, this comes to a very, very fine point. It's extremely comfortable. That's a nice place to put a forearm. Control cavity covers, not recessed, strangely. I don't know why they haven't done that when they've put so much work into all the rest of it. Also, the battery cover looks like it was cut out by a 4th grader. I have already been in here just to take the battery out because old batteries, like you just don't know what you're going to get. So I removed that, but I haven't been in this one yet. Let's go exploring. Wow. Oh yes, that is some early 90s through-hole circuitry right there. That's all bagged up to keep it waterproof. I'm amazed that they've managed to fit something that size into a cavity, which isn't all that big. That looks like it's a push-pull switch, which I didn't know. Yes, okay, so we have a push-pull switch, which looks like it's a little bit loose. We'll tighten that up. Other than that, I'm not too sure. Looks like we've got a pickup selector switch. I think what it's got is just a volume for each one, and then that looks like a tone knob, and then you can pull the like I don't think it's got active EQ. This might just be an amplifier, just to boost the signal. It's just really interesting to see that ancient circuitry in there, and hope that it still does something. Alright, the foam is still spongy. That's good. Looks like everything is completely epoxy potted. That would have been very, very high end at the time. They are filthy. It's a few decades of dust. Right. They don't feel particularly heavy. What you're seeing here is the very reason why I never use gold-plated hardware on anything that I've ever built, for the simple fact that a little bit of rust and the gold plating just comes off. That's just a corroded mess. Yeah, so I can't really get that pickup out, and I don't want to go pulling on the wire because, you know, that's going to cause more damage. But I can tell you that's a completely epoxy sealed pickup. The rubber pad that it's on is stuck in there very firmly. It's almost as if some moisture or some liquid or something's been spilt on this side of the pickup. Maybe somebody sweated on it a lot, but then I would have expected some more corrosion around the place. It's just these two seem to have copped it the hardest. While it's out, I can clean all that muck off it, and then, yeah, it's just a matter of waiting for the neck to dry so that I can investigate whether or not I'm going to have to re-level the frets. I'm pretty certain that I'm going to need to re-level the frets. But then, yes, then we'll find out what this thing actually does. Right,
It is not quite as invisible as I'd hoped. I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of refinishing on this. Certainly some drop filling, because I had a little splinter raise up on that side, and I think when I came in with the 40 grit I just lost a little bit of the finish, so there's a wee bit of a gap there. But I can drop fill all of this with some CA glue just to seal all around there, and then very, very carefully scrape it off, and then sand and blend. And this is not... it's not altogether a gloss finish. There's a little bit of satin. I wouldn't call this deck highly polished. It's shiny, but it's not, super glossy. But hopefully we can get that feeling, if not exactly looking like it's not there at all. So, with a bit of filling and sanding and scraping and some synthetic steel wool, yeah, that's done. It's not exactly invisible visually, but it's certainly invisible to the hand. I cannot feel that at all. That's exactly what we're after. Yeah, job's a good one. Obviously, I'm missing a fret there. That'll need to be replaced. Also, this section of fingerboard is raised ever so slightly. There's just a little step up, which means that I could just bang a fret in there, then level all of these, but these frets would get quite a lot filed off them. I mean, not a lot, but more than I would prefer, ideally. But what's actually important to note is that these frets are a little bit worn, and they're a little bit raised. I got a feeler gauge out, and some of these frets I can actually get, not all of them. Some of them are worse than others. They're all over the place. I'm going to do a whole refret. That will give me the chance to actually level the board off, take care of that little step up there, and then this thing should play like an absolute dream. Right, I have good news and bad news. The good news is it's up to pitch and it hasn't broken. Hooray! The bad news is the action's a mile high and I need to shim the neck, so I've got to take all these off again, set it up properly. I think we've got a goer. What I want to do first off, though, is stick a battery in it and see if there's any life in these controls. It's alive! What do these do? Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so when it's down, it's on, because it's louder. You pull it up and it turns it off, and that's all it does. Maybe there might be a little bit of an EQ boost when we actually take it into studio conditions. We'll be able to hear if it's doing anything in that regard. But yeah, very crackly volumes for each pickup, and a switch, and yes, a make it louder knob, and also make it duller knob. Okay, right. I should probably clean those out, or possibly replace them entirely. I'll get it set up first and then see about that. And here it is. I have cut a lot out of this video. Like a ridiculous... We could have been here for well over an hour and a half. But it's done, it's playing, it is excellent, and the final stats are 43mm nut, which is actually quite narrow. Most 5 strings run about 46. Again, quite narrow bridge, 15mm spacing, standard sort of 17 or 18 normally, so it's very compact to play, but it's actually very nice to play and sounds quite good. Just the P pickup. Sounds like a bass. The jazz pickup is, yeah, well, the jazz pickup's really close to the bridge. It's just clanky. You know, I don't particularly like that sound. I'm not very fond of that, but you join them together and, you know, you've got quite a useful tone. Yeah, it's good. And the B string's quite nice as well. Solid. Just back onto the P pickup, and in passive mode, like, it's not great. Then you make it loud again. I suppose that's useful if your battery goes flat, but you know, if you're careful to not leave it plugged in, your battery shouldn't go flat for quite some time, although that will get you out of a jam in the event of, you know, being on stage and having not changed your battery for 6 months. But yes, it is back from the dead. Very happy. I mean, this thing was given up for spares or firewood, or worse, you know. Very, very glad to have been able to resurrect it, and, you know, new string rattle aside, I think it sounds pretty great. So great, in fact, I dragged one of my clones out of the dungeon where I keep them ignorant lest they gain the power of language and take over the planet. Enjoy. So there it is. Thank you for sticking with me through what has been a very long video. And there's just a little bit more to go because I've got to tell you about what's happening next. Because with this being the last base that I intend to buy for the collection, obviously I'm not going to be doing reviews on the channel anymore. Although there are still a few that I haven't showed you, so, you know, not a whole lot's going to change really, except I will be shifting the focus onto building and production methods and refining my own techniques, because I'm well aware that some of my techniques are not the best, some of my tools aren't the best, some of the materials I use aren't that great. I've already started investigating UV resin to replace the superglue. I mean, that's a major shift, and of course it is winter in New Zealand now. It's gotten really cold in the garage. I mean, I just can't work in there for the next few months. I mean, even working on this one, you know, you can't hold a fret leveling file if you can't feel your fingers. So I will be taking a few months off, and in that time I'll be making a very detailed list of every step of the process, how I can make it better, how I can make it more accurate, how I can make it faster, because I like to work fast, but I will not compromise quality. I'll make that very clear. I'm looking for fast and good, which doesn't come cheap, which is good that I'm not spending any more money on bases. So as I go into my annual hibernation, I want to give a sincere thank you to everyone for watching, everyone who comments. We have some great conversations down in the comments below. I've been blessed with such a fantastic supportive community of people watching these videos, and I will not stop making them. But I am taking a break for 3 months. So all that's really left to say is thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.